Hello, ladies and gents, boys and girls, people of all ages, sexualities, and identities, and welcome back to another series review. And today's series review is none other than Fallout Season 2. So, what happens in Fallout Season 2? Well, essentially, Lucy, the Ghoul, and the Brotherhood are all continuing on their mission to pick up the pieces whilst they scour the wastelands. However, it seems that as the Ghoul goes on and on in his mission to find Lucy's father with her, he finds himself revisiting a couple traumatic bits of his past, from being wrongly accused of something, to finding out that his wife is part of a deeper conspiracy to destroy the world. And to make matters worse, he also has a billionaire who has dragged him into his playroom in order to announce to him that he believes that someone's going to pull the trigger. The real question is, will it be Ghoul, will it be Vault-Tec, or will it be his wife? However, once he gets too close to the truth, it turns out that his wife pays the price. But to get her out of the nick, he decides to take the fall. Lucy finds herself in the presence of many different people, alongside Macaulay Culkin, who played the boy from Home Alone. She goes into a town in which they come across a group of Roman-like soldiers called the Legion. It turns out that the Legion hopes to take over the entire world, and with the power and numbers they do, they may just do it. We also find out later on down the line that this is why her father has been bringing back the technology that was used by Vault-Tec. He's been doing this in hopes that maybe, just maybe, they might be able to destroy the Legion once and for all. However, going back to Lucy talking to Macaulay Culkin's character, who eventually goes on to become the new Caesar, she finds herself in a precarious situation in which she begins to talk about pre-nuptus, to which she sarcastically comes out with about the fact that she's gotten up to no good with her cousins and family members and uncles or something like that, which of course freaks them out, but being a Vault Dweller, she has some truth to what she's saying. Meanwhile, elsewhere, we find out that our Brotherhood, a young lad named Maximus, is fighting for his life as he comes into contact of this kind of inner conflict. Does he stay with the Brotherhood, or does he join his fellow comrade, an old friend of his that seems to now be running a factory? Turns out, after a heated fight and being left and stranded out in the desert, his friend has become infected. Due to this, he can never return back to the Brotherhood. So Maximus comes up with a great plan to basically take out his comrade who was going to destroy all the kids who have been infected and his mate, and the two team up in search of Lucy. However, when they struggle to find Lucy and find Ghoul instead, they decide to free him from the pole. Lucy and Ghoul had a falling out mid-series in which Lucy pretty much punches him out of the window and gets him penetrated onto a pole. He then sits there for a good few hours, constantly trying to climb his way up the pole, but just spitting out blood. Lucky for him, Maximus comes by and saves him from this fate. The pair then manage to catch up with Lucy, and Ghoul manages to pretty much give Lucy the choice whether or not to kill her father. She decides not to kill him, but she does decide to punish him using his own technology against him. Lucy fell out with her father after being knocked out after the events of punching Ghoul out the window and drinking some kind of drink. She is then taken to this giant kind of bunker looking place in which she finds out that her father has been experimenting on people and making them suggestible. Meanwhile, elsewhere in the wasteland, turns out that Lucy's brother has been going about telling people that he's the leader of a tribe, only to end up having this backfire on him when the group go into a building. Once inside this derelict building, this backfires, he gets hurt, and he manages to save a girl that he's really into by pretty much putting her on a trolley after letting all the rest of them get massacred by giant cockroaches. So yeah, what a nice guy. Meanwhile, elsewhere back in the vaults themselves, it turns out that a woman who has been posing as someone's wife has not only lied and said she was from America even though she's from Canada, but it's also kind of a husband to a wife to someone else. Turns out she is 200 years old, making her one of the oldest people in the vault. This begins to confuse everyone in the vault as they begin to realize that there's so much more to her character than meets the eye. We also find out from a flashback that she has met Ghoul before he became the way he is, and she helped him dispose of a body. A body that we can only assume is either her husband or someone that goes on to become her full guy when she gets into the vault. We also find out that she essentially kind of pushed her new husband into marriage by putting a poster up in the vault that they were engaged to be wed. So back to the main plot. Essentially, Lucy and Maximus come together and their relationship really begins to flourish at the end of this series. Lucy is left with a kind of realization that the outside world isn't as bright and beautiful as she was led to believe in the vaults, but now she's kind of wondering whether she can build a life of her own, regardless of what the world has come to be. Maximus feels the same, and the two end the credits with them looking out and Maximus saying, "Welcome to the wasteland." Meanwhile, elsewhere, Legion are moving and marching on them, and Ghoul has just found out that his daughter was not in the vaults. He finds a note about Colorado in one of the sleeping chambers and begins to realize that there's much more to his family than meets the eye. He is also constantly mocked by the rich guy who has now outlived the apocalypse by becoming a computer AI. So, Fallout Season 2. What did I think of this series overall? It was a great series. It had some great funny moments, from Lucy shooting some guy to her joking about the kind of incest, and on top of it, the kind of on the nose barbarism of this series. However, I do have one thing I'm going to knock Series 2 back for a little bit. I know we've been having this constant theme of them going back in time and showing us flashbacks, but I feel like the relevance is slowly starting to wear thin. I feel like we need some kind of balance in this series where we either have half the story at the first couple of episodes of the series and then half the other story at other episodes of the series. I feel like it's kind of getting all over the place, and it really feels like we're having to cut bits up and find the relevance. I mean, of course, there is some very key points. For instance, the congresswoman that gets attached to a machine who wants to die and Lucy helps her. There's also the relevance of the rich guy who gets put into an AI. And most importantly, there's a lot of relevance towards where Vault Text technology was going and what it was striving to achieve. And most importantly, the fake image and slash marketing strategy they had behind the apocalypse. And for that reason, I give Fallout Season 2 a solid 8 out of 10. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next series review. Until then, goodbye, stay beautiful, and have an incredible day.